Hey ninjas, welcome back. So most probably you've opened your store and you might be having a sale here and there, but you are probably wondering, how am I gonna grow this store? So stick around because we will talk about the 6-step blueprint that literally can take you from 0 to 6 figures in no time. So even if all you have is just 10 minutes, stick around because we're gonna talk about that step by step and how to do that real fast. And also I'm going to do you the common courtesy of putting the timestamps below so that you can fast forward to where you need to go. Hey, my name is Silvia Myers, and together with my husband Kristen, we are the founders of the Traffic Ninjas. In Traffic Ninjas, we have worked with over 500 brands across the whole world, and we essentially learned what works and what doesn't when it comes to e-commerce stores. So in this channel, we share all of the untapped strategies that essentially work for small business owners such as you to get that consistent, predictable income from your store. So if you haven't yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and comment below to let us know how you like our content and what questions you've got, because ultimately we want to make sure that this content is there for you to be successful with your e-commerce store. All right, so let's get right into it. So literally there's only 6 steps that you must implement in your e-commerce store to really grow and scale your business profitably. So in this blueprint, we're going to talk about these 6 steps, and let me just tell you straight away what they are, and then we're going to deep dive into them. So first of all, you've got to really understand your customer and be able to put yourself in your customer's shoes. Then you've got to have really what we call a 6-figure parcel or a 6-figure offer, build an offer that your customers won't be able to say no to, and also an offer that you can make a minimum 6 figures with. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is essentially shopping mechanics, like how people add things to cart, how do they check out. So we're gonna deep dive into that. Step number 4 and 5 is talking about the types of traffic that we've got and how you drive those ideal visitors, ideal customers to your store who are essentially ready to pull out their wallet and buy. And step number 6 is talking about the profitable e-commerce math. Like, don't worry, we're just gonna go through some basics, but essentially the math is there for you so that you are able to grow and scale your store profitably, because most probably you have already spent some money on ads, agencies, and things that did not work. And we want to make sure that you really literally invest your money to where you're going to get the return on investment, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are getting that steady income from your business. So let's deep dive into step number 1. So step number 1, you've got to put yourself in your customer's shoes. What does that mean? Most entrepreneurs who are not making money with their e-commerce store, when I ask them like, who is your ideal customer? Typically the answer is, well, it can be anyone. Or it's a woman between 18 and 65 years old. Or it's just that anyone who likes home stuff. Well, unfortunately, in order to be able to make your store profitable, we've got to be going deeper into that. And just saying that my store is for everyone really is not going to result in you being able to charge a premium, which you unfortunately have to do when you're a small business owner, and it's not going to convert into having a really high conversion rate and as many people buying. Typically, when we don't define our customers well and when we don't put ourselves in our customers' shoes, we end up having a store that has to do a lot of discounting, kind of like a $1 store. Do you want your shop to be $1 store? Probably not, because it's going to be probably very, very difficult for you to make money. So step number 1 inside the blueprint, do make sure you always put yourself in your customers' shoes. Do understand, like, why should they be buying my product? What is their need? Why do they need it? Why do they want it? Who else is out there who's selling the same product? Even if you just answer these basic questions, they will literally help you with step number 2, and that's how to make an irresistible offer for your customer so that your customers literally cannot walk away without saying no. So they're going to be ready to pull out their wallet and buy everything you've got. So step number 2, creating your 6-figure offer or a minimum at a 6-figure. Now, the reason why it's so important for this offer to be at a minimum of 6-figure potential is because many businesses out there do not make money with their stores because they're purely just trying to diversify and create so many products that essentially they're forever just stuck with creating another product, and then 20 people buy, and another product and 20 people buy. And that's really hard for you to make money. You want to make sure that with every single product you can sell at least 6 figures worth of it. So how to build your offer? First of all, always think back to your customer. Always think about, what does my customer want? What does my customer need? Who else is out there selling something similar? And how am I different? Now, the big secret in building irresistible offers is to really connect to your customer emotionally. Why is that? Because guys, believe it or not, but essentially we function with a 1.7 million years old brain. And this brain is programmed for fight or flight. So you've got to understand that buying psychology that comes into place. Often we think that people buy with logic, but people unfortunately do not buy with logic. They buy with emotions and they only justify with logic. Now, often though, we see that entrepreneurs are not essentially putting enough emotional, emotional connection into their offers, and therefore they end up just selling the product, just selling the stuff, just selling a commodity. But what happens when you're selling a commodity? Then it's so easily to be comparable with somebody else. And you don't want to do this with your offer, because then again, the only strategy left for you is discounting, and that's going to be very hard for you as a small business owner to make it work. So when you are building your product page or your collection page, do make sure that your images, your descriptions, everything, you've got the flow, the colors, that it essentially has a strong emotional connection to your customer. So always ask yourself, do my images evoke emotions? Is my description emotional? Is this a nice to have, or is this a must have? Is this something where my customer is going to be like, oh my God, I really want it, and then emotionally and logically after they're going to justify how they're going to pay for it? Because if you just leave it to a logical description, it's just not going to work as well. The other thing you might consider when you are building your 6-figure offer is something that Alex Hormozi calls like the 10x test and 1/10 test. So this is a really great exercise to do with your offer, and ask yourself, if I was to charge 10 times as much for this product, what else would I need to include in this offer? How else would this need to look like? So first you put it through the 10x test, and then you reverse that and you go, well, if I could only charge 1/10 of the money that I'm charging now and would still need to provide at least the same value or more that I'm providing now, how would that offer look like? So once you put it through these 2 tests, it essentially is going to do wonders to your offer, and honestly, like, your profits will skyrocket. Okay, step number 3. Step number 3 are essentially shopping mechanics. So shopping mechanics such as adding products to cart, going through the checkout process. Now, way too often I see business owners who spend like 80% of their time on the shopping mechanics and forget about the step number 1 and step number 2. Step number 1 is the customer, step number 2 is the offer. And they spend so much time on the shopping mechanics and then say like, hey, I've done, like, my store is flawless, all of these add to carts and checkout stuff works, and I've got the timer and I've got the pop-up, all of these things, but I'm still not making money. Well, the reason is, guys, because in this blueprint, you literally go through these steps in this order. So shopping mechanics only comes after understanding who your customer is and understanding how you build that offer, okay? Shopping mechanics is super important to have that right. But the main thing you want to understand is, like, when you're going through your flow in step number 3, through the shopping mechanics, you want to essentially go through your competitors' stores, and you want to do that on desktop and on mobile phone as well. and just go through the shopping experience, like sign up to the newsletters, add their products to cart, go through the checkout, fill out the checkout, and see what kind of emails you're going to be getting, see what kind of pop-ups they're using, see if it's flawless, see if it's accessible with their thumbs, or if you like need to go on different parts of the screen to essentially do something. And then how does it compare to your store? Because often, and essentially, like I would say like 95% of entrepreneurs, they're like, yeah, I've tested my store. I went through my store, and I went through my store on desktop, and I went through my store on a mobile phone. But sure, but you don't know what else are your customers seeing. And if your competitor's store is flawless and your store logically doesn't make sense, and it's really hard to add products to cart, and you just don't know where to hit the button to display your cart and how to go to the checkout, that's really difficult, then you're going to have customers dropping off, and it's going to be hard to make money. So one of the really big things for your store to finally get you that steady income is make sure you've got flawless shopping mechanics. Once again, that's not as important as the offer or as understanding who the customer is, but nonetheless, it's really, really important to be collecting money. Okay, step number 4 is essentially what we refer to as borrowed traffic. So once you've got that store set up, and you've got the right offer, and you've got the shopping mechanics in place, and it's flawless, you start driving traffic to your store. And essentially we've got something what we call borrowed traffic. That borrowed traffic, and by the way, Russell Brunson talks about this a lot, and it's incredible, and he's got it in his book Traffic Secrets as well. I absolutely love it, and I recommend you guys to read it. It's an amazing piece. So essentially it talks about this concept of understanding that sometimes we don't understand that all of the traffic that we're getting from our stores, whether it's from Instagram or Facebook or Google search traffic or TikTok, whatever that is, that essentially it really is just borrowed traffic. Why? Because even if we have followers, even if we have engagement, that engagement can be stopped at any given point through the change in the algorithm. That business page can be shut down at any point, and it doesn't matter whether it's free or whether it's paid, it essentially can be taken away from you at any given point. So what you've got to understand at this point when you're driving traffic, which is step number 4, you've got to understand that, okay, there is such a thing as borrowed traffic. So I've got to understand how these platforms work. There are platforms such as Google or YouTube that work on what's called search traffic. So you search for what you want. Essentially, you can be searching for t-shirts, you can be searching for microphones, you can be searching for computers, you can be searching for carpets or rugs, whatever that is, and you would be getting ads and also stores that sell those products. So that's what's called search traffic. In search traffic, you will always have people who are more ready to buy, because they essentially are in the last stages and they're like, hey, I really want to buy this product, but I'm not exactly sure which one. So they essentially are in the final stages. And if you do have the right offer and you pop up in the search results, they're going to be ready to buy. We've got a ton of content on how to essentially create the search traffic. All you have to do is really just dedicate a little bit of time to that. Now we also have what we call interruption traffic. That interruption traffic comes through sources such as Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Why is it interruption traffic? Because on those platforms, people are not there to shop. They're there just to hang out, to entertain themselves, to hang out with the family, follow on their friends. And so essentially that's why it's called interruption traffic. It's the same as used to be in the past with radio advertisement or TV advertisement. Essentially, you are interrupting their scroll with your ad or your post. So those are the 2 major parts of borrowed traffic, which is step number 4. Now, how is it different to step number 5? In step number 5, you essentially have what we call owned traffic. Now, what is owned traffic? Owned traffic is something that belongs to you, and guess what? Nobody can ever take that away from you. And no, it's not your followers on Facebook, on Instagram or TikTok. No, it's not your followers, because remember, those can be taken away from you at any given point. It's essentially your email list. Okay, so your job is to essentially get as much of that borrowed traffic as you can and turn that into your own traffic, capture those contact details in an email list, because guess what? There is always going to be fluctuation in a business. There is going to be fluctuation in platforms. And so once you've got those people on your email list, nobody can ever take that away from you, and there is money in the list. Okay, so roughly you want to be thinking about $1 per email address per month, which is really like not so bad, right? Thinking that you've got 10,000 emails or your email list, you know, that could be $10,000 in sales every single month. So that's not too bad, right? All right, the final step, step number 6 in the blueprint to literally take you from 0 to 6 figures fast, is understanding the basic e-commerce math, which is something so many entrepreneurs do not want to understand because they're like, oh my God, math, it's so difficult. But guys, it's not so difficult. It's not so complicated. We really just have to break down some basics. And the basics are literally the more you can sell and the less you pay for the sale, the bigger profit you make, right? Just simple as that. So therefore, you want to understand some simple figures inside your business, which is things like average order value. How many times did you access your dashboard and had a look like, what is my average order value? Is it more than $50? Is it more than $100? Is it more than $300? If your average order value is only like 15, 20 bucks, that's going to be really, really hard, because that means that on average, every person who purchases only buys something worth $20. So you subtract the cost of the product, maybe $10, and all you're left with is 10 bucks. Now it's going to be really difficult for you to drive customers to your store and have also pay all of these expenses just for $10, okay? So the higher your average order value, the easier is it going to be for your business to make money. The other thing that's going to really help you to get your business into profitable numbers is what we call conversion rate. Again, what is a conversion rate? Conversion rate is essentially percentage of all of those visitors who come to your store, percentage of how many actually end up buying. Now, some of you guys think like, oh my God, I've got a ton of traffic, but no sales. And then I look at your stores and you had like 100 visitors in the last 5 months. Guys, what you've got to understand is that on average, a good conversion rate is somewhere between 1 to 2%. That's an average, okay? So out of 100 right visitors to your store, not just any nilly-willy visitors, but the ideal customers or ideal potential customers to your store, you're literally going to be making just 1, maximum 2 sales. Okay, so the higher the conversion rate, the more customers out of the 100 will be buying. So once you're driving that traffic, you need to understand, how do I drive more traffic at lower price, and how do I make my offer better so that more people take me out of that offer? And that's essentially what we call conversion rate. So you increase your average order value, you increase your conversion rate, and you are making money. The last number you've got to really understand, at least basics at the beginning, is what we call the cost per acquisition, or the CAC. It's cost to acquire a customer. Okay, so if you're driving traffic from Facebook or from Google or from Instagram, wherever, and if you're paying for it, you really need to understand like how much money have you spent before you get that one sale, so that you are profitable. And over time, continuously, you really need to find ways how to decrease that cost of acquisition. And there are simple ways. You know, you could get a different contractor or a different agency. You could start looking at ways how to reduce the cost of your Facebook traffic, for example, or Instagram traffic. Depends what platform you are using to get traffic to your store. And also, speaking about numbers, if your store is set up the right way and it's really serving your ideal customer, you most probably have multiple products that your customer would love to have. If that's the case, you also want to be paying attention to what we call repeat purchase rate. You definitely want to have customers come back to your store, because those customers are 6 to 7 times more profitable than anybody else who just comes to your store once and then never purchases. So guys, there you have it. All it takes is 6 steps to take your store from 0 to multiple 6 figures. Do let us know, comment below, what did you learn, what did you take out of this video. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let us know what content you'd like to see next, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye.